With death and destruction in their wake, these two warriors clash in a battle of anti-hero against villain. So, will Nightmare the wielder of Soul Edge claim his next victim, or will death decide his opponent's fate? I'm Mike G, and welcome to Dream Battles. What was once a normal blade, forged by a nameless blacksmith, was then a wicked soul named Inferno that dwelt within the sword after being bathed in the blood and hatred of countless foes, and later sought out to infect the world with darkness and chaos. But in order to do that, it had to seek out a warrior who was capable of wielding this power. And that first victim came along in the 16th century by a pirate named Cervantes de Leon, who raided an English vessel and then discovered Soul Edge and claimed it as his own. And many tried to kill Cervantes, but they were each executed as their souls were captivated into the mighty blade, until a warrior named Safita confronted him and destroyed Soul Edge and Inferno with the help of Taki. Sometime later, a young German knight named Siegfried discovered Soul Edge, and with that single touch, Soul Edge fed on his fear and anger and stripped his humanity away, transforming him into Nightmare. But despite Soul Edge's ever-growing power, Siegfried constantly battled to free himself from this possession, and eventually he did. But there was a manifestation of Nightmare, and thus Siegfried wielded a holy blade named Soul Calibur, which is the final shard of Soul Edge, reforged into a second sword to fight its demonic counterpart. But even with the existence of Soul Calibur, none could match the sheer power of the Knight of Darkness, Nightmare. Nightmare is an incredibly powerful warrior that possesses immense titanic strength, capable of lifting more than 14 tons. And despite his muscular bulk, Nightmare's agility, balance, and bodily coordination are quite impressive and are beyond the natural physical limits. And his reflexes are about more than average compared to an ordinary man, and possesses an impressive degree of resistance to physical injury and also feels no discomfort to very high temperatures. Nightmare is also an excellent swordsman and hand-to-hand combatant, capable of fighting in numerous stances, and often becomes infamous in his near-endless, fast and powerful combos that are explosive. And thanks to his demonic heritage, Nightmare possesses a wide array of abilities, such as channeling fire through Soul Edge to increase its damage output, powerful enough to obliterate a castle, creating a field of energy that can rapidly expand to drain the souls of many in large areas at once, and has even been shown to teleport, but only doing so when near flames. But when wielding the complete power of Soul Edge, Nightmare at will can transform into Night Terror, a form that possesses most of the same abilities as Nightmare, but amplified many times over. It is basically an incarnation of pure destructive will that possesses immeasurable power that not even the mighty Al Ghul would dare stand against.
Finally, none are left with the strength to oppose us.
When mankind was given the prize of Eden, Absalom, the leader of the Nephilim, led his armies against heaven and hell and attempt to steal it back. For this crime, the Charred Council commend the Nephilim to destruction, So granted a pardon from the fate of the condition, they aid the council's victory over their kin, and thus became the Four Horsemen. But there was one who had the greatest burden of guilt upon him for the extinction of his race. So on the day he would slaughter his brethren and Absalom, he would don a mask that would represent something that had many names. Judge, jury, executioner, and death. Sometime later, the Horseman War was accused and imprisoned by the Charred Council for the starting of the apocalypse. Death was informed about War's fate, and upon hearing this news, he would not believe that his brother was guilty, as War is the most honorable of the Four Horsemen. So Death decided to make a conscious decision and travel to Veal to find the Crow Father, the Keeper of Secrets, in order to discover a way to resurrect humanity and thus redeem War and prove his innocence. When Death finally sought out the Crow Father, he asked for his help. Clearly at the edge of madness and insanity, he refused. However, Crow Father did tell Death that the key to redeem War would be found in the Tree of Life. But Crow Father would not let Death pass. He urged Death to take the amulet, as the vengeful voices of the Nephilim tortured him. However, Death felt he could not carry that burden, so the Crow Father took the form of War to fight Death. He failed and died, but the amulet was suddenly embedded in Death's chest, and thus a dark vortex consumed him. And after all that, Death was willing to do anything to reach the tree and the Well of Souls to restore humanity and redeem War. And he did this by finding his way through monsters, godlike beings, and Absalom's corruption. And when Death finally sought out the Well of Souls, he sacrificed his life and the souls of the Nephilim in the process, while meanwhile on Earth, War took out the perpetrator Abaddon, and the seventh seal had finally been broken, and the Four Horsemen were revived as War rejoined Strife, Fury, and his long-lost brother, Death. Death is an immense and powerful acrobatic warrior, and uses his tremendous strength and agility to climb, run up walls, and leap far distances. Also, the mystical energy that empowers Death prevents his muscles from producing fatigue toxins during physical activity, granting him limitless stamina. Death's reflexes are also instantaneous, allowing him to react to direct attacks at any moment. And like most Nephilim, they are excellent swimmers and can breathe underwater and can reach speeds up to greater than 25 miles per hour while swimming. Death is a superior intellect, capable at solving mind-boggling puzzles, and is a peerless strategist, often plans to outwit his foes rather than just simply outfighting them. Death is also the most feared of the Four Horsemen and is known to install fear in others. Even those that are not afraid of Samael fear Death. Death is also skilled in the art of interrogation and often uses the methods of torture and his frightening appearance to get what he wants. Death is an expert with virtually any weapon he has at his disposal and has been seen to use arm blades, gauntlets, massive maces, spears, and one of Strife's handguns, Redemption. But Death mostly relies on the Harvester, which is Death's blade, and its unique property is being able to change form, allowing Death to utilize virtually a wide array of unique fighting styles by using it as a pair of long-bladed dual scythes or a single long-hafted scythe with an even larger blade. Death possesses seemingly unholy demonic abilities. Those powers include summoning different types of ghouls that can attack and distract foes, create an energy barrier to protect himself from any type of physical harm, a teleportation dash that slashes multiple enemies at once, summoning a ghost hand that can pull Death to high ledges, and summon a ghost-like Reaper for a short amount of time during physical activity. Death also has a regenerating healing factor and can survive a puncture wound through the chest. Death can also make good use of his phantom horse Despair as a steed, and his crow companion Dust, which helps direct him in the correct path if lost. Death can also manifest into his Reaper form, which can cause a high amount of critical damage under an endless barrage of attacks, and with this form, he gains the power of flight, super strength, super speed, and the rest of his abilities I mentioned earlier. Alright guys, there was your rundown over both Nightmare and Death. Now it's time to choose a victor for this battle. But before I do, I quickly want to mention that whoever I choose is not fact. It's opinion. And if you guys disagree, that's completely fine. But please respect my opinion, and I will respect yours. Now, the victory of this battle goes to Death. Now, Nightmare may be an incredibly powerful warrior, but compared to Death, he is nothing more than another demon to slay. Also, while Nightmare knows multiple fighting styles compared to the other previous Nightmares, his knowledge on these styles became his greatest weakness. You see, Death has been living for millions of years and has been taught almost every fighting style since the earliest days of man. Which means that everything Nightmare knows, Death knows. Now you also may be wondering, which form is stronger, the Night Terror form or the Reaper form? And the answer to that question is none. These two have distinct advantages and disadvantages. But if I were to choose a victor between the two, I would probably go with the Reaper form. Why? Well, it's because Death has more control over the Reaper form, while Nightmare has troubles controlling the Night Terror form. This basically gives Death the edge and intelligence and can pinpoint the weaknesses and go for the ultimate execution. So guys, that's all I have for this battle. If you guys agree and you have other reasons why you think Death would win, then write them up in the comments because I am interested. If you guys disagree and you feel Nightmare would win, then please feel free to put your thoughts and opinions as well, because I am also interested. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to put a like, comment, and subscribe for more battles. Mike G off your screen. I'll see you guys soon in the next battle. See you guys soon.